Media always trying to take everything out of context. Never said anything bad about Lakers, just wanted everyone to know that we're playing good basketball and that there's nothing wrong with checking out our games too. Peace.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_Bieber. We're here to look back at Tuesday's 4 games with some historic performance, or a historic performance, I guess, depending on how you want to say that, from Russell Westbrook. We're also going to have a look ahead at the injury status of a few guys for Wednesday and some potential streaming options. Michael Bolton.
Let's get to it.
Let us get to it indeed. Let's start off where we always do on these shows with
Monstrous Line of the Night.
It has to go to Russell Westbrook of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just the second 2020 game in NBA history. Wilt Chamberlain, the only other one to do that. 20 points for Westbrook, 20 rebounds, and he had 21 assists as well. Yes, he did stay in the game when it was a blowout at the end to get those 2 extra rebounds. I literally don't care. When you're going for a record like this, it's not a big problem at all for him to go in there and do that. Fantastic performance from Westbrook. 3 steals. He hit 2 threes. He was 8 of 23 from the field. He was 2 of 3 from the line. So in true Westbrook fashion, he put up the counting stats and then destroyed your percentages. But this is obviously a fantastic effort from him. He is going to average a triple-double for the 3rd consecutive season. Remember, that had been done once before in NBA history, and Westbrook has now done it in 3 consecutive years, averaging 23, 11, and 10.5. It is a long way from that first season where he averaged 31, 10.5, and 10.5. That's a big drop in points. Of course, Paul George's presence is a big impact there. And the efficiency is really killing you with Westbrook this year. 43 from the field, which is not unrecoverable from, but combine that with 66% from the free throw line, it's a little bit frustrating. But it has improved a bit over the last couple of weeks. He's up to 71% from the line. But still, I think from this point forward, we have to consider Westbrook a real negative in free throw percentage and a punt-only guy, considering the volume that he does take from the line and how poor he's been over these past 2 seasons. He is the 15th ranked player this season, Russ, averaging 23, 11, and 10 with those 2 steals, which obviously is a huge part in what his value is. But I think that with those deficiencies, especially for roto leagues, he's probably more of a second-round guy or someone that you try and avoid as much as possible. But those counting stats are pretty tasty for head-to-head formats.
Waiver Wire Line of the Night.
The waiver wire line of the night is Kent Bazemore of the Atlanta Hawks. With the Hawks missing a couple of guys in John Collins and Taurean Prince, Bazemore played 24 minutes off the bench. He scored 26 points and had 5 triples, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. A huge 33% usage, a huge 63% field goal percentage as well. Bazemore has obviously disappeared a lot, and he is outside the top 250 over the last 3 months, shooting just 35% from the field, 68% from the line. And this is a guy who was at 80% from the line last year. So that's a big decrease there. Not getting the minutes, not generating any of those stats. He's obviously been dropped in leagues and should have been dropped a very long time ago. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Bazemore with 1 year left on his contract next season, and the Hawks clearly with their 3 and 2 of the future and maybe another one added into the draft there ahead of him. I really don't see him ever getting back to that top 100 player, top 70 player that he was last season. And I think that this might be, this is a good performance from Bazemore, no doubt. And if Prince does miss more time, you can look to stream him. I wouldn't have huge amount of faith in him because this is a game where, look, his last Bazemore was fantastic in this game, no doubt. 10 of 16 from the field. His last 4 games, he had totaled 4 of 31 from the field. That is astonishingly bad. And then, it's sort of a correction here happening with those with this big performance, but not something that you can rely upon with Kent at all, considering how poorly he has been shooting, and really just a deep league stream guy at best, I guess, at this point in the season for Kent Bazemore. Got to tell you guys today about our sponsor for today's show, Wise Camera. Wise is the indoor camera that does it all. It's packed with the premium features that allows you to see everything from anywhere for just $20. 1080p Full HD, night vision, two-way audio, and you can also upgrade it to a 360-degree camera for just $10 more. Life moves fast. Your camera should too. So you should be checking out Wise. They've also got an app that helps you to live stream that camera in your house with free rolling 14-day cloud storage and no subscriptions as well. It's only $20 a cam, so you can use Wise for whatever you choose. You want to keep an eye on your babysitter. You want to check how your herbs are growing on your windowsill in your kitchen. You want to check footage of your bird bath in your backyard. You can do all of that with Wise. So go to wise.com, wyze.com/locked to get yourself the guaranteed lowest price on a do-it-all camera. All right, let's move on to the next award. It is the Deep Leaguer of the night, and it is Kevon Looney of the Golden State Warriors. This was a day of blowouts, and the Warriors over the Nuggets was another blowout. They were up about 30, the Warriors, before they pulled their starters. Looney played 12 minutes in this game, had 10 and 5, added the 2 steals, had the 2 blocks as well. So, really good numbers from Looney there. His production has obviously waned since DeMarcus Cousins has returned from his injury. He can be used as a stream type of guy, and if Cousins sits any of these games down the stretch, which I think is a legitimate possibility, you might be able to use Looney in 20-team leagues or 16-team leagues, maybe. But I just think with the options that Steve Kerr has there in Golden State...
You can call me Coach Steve.
Looney, his value is limited, but this is obviously a good game based on that extra minutes due to the blowout that did occur with the Warriors really smacking down on the Denver Nuggets in a pretty significant way. The next award of the day,
Young Gun of the Night.
Big Derrick White. Huge from White, who's been struggling of late. 31 minutes, 23 points, 3 threes, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks on 83. Sorry, let's try that again. 23, 4, and 3 with 2 blocks on 10 of 12 shooting, which is 83% shooting. White is the 118th ranked player over the course of the season in only 26 minutes per game. He's been a little bit up and down. I think that he is going to come into next season a little bit underrated. I don't know how they're going to work him and DeJounte Murray. I'd like to see them play together. But I think Derrick White has shown enough this season for us to look at him as a future fantasy standard league type player, a point guard who blocks shots. He's blocked 6 shots in his last 4 games, even when the offense has been struggling, and it's been struggling a lot. The last 4 games prior to this, he hadn't hit double digits once in any of those games, but he can get assists, he can get steals, he can get blocks. He can be a high field goal percentage player. He can hit some threes. He's not the greatest three-point shooter, but he can do that. I really do like Derrick White. I think at this point, it's a little bit tough to get a full grasp on how Popovich is going to use him. They are playing on Wednesday, but it's a big, busy slate, 12 games. So if White's on your waiver wire, he might not be the best ad because he might not fit into your active roster. He might, of course. And then they play again Friday, Sunday, and again Wednesday. So just 4 more games left for the rest of the season. And they're all relatively high volume days for Derrick White. But he might fit what you need, a defensive point guard who gets assists with high field goal percentages. Not many of those guys around, and Derrick White could be that player for the rest of the season for you.
I tell a man's not hot.
The dud of the night, Willie Cauley-Stein, was a disaster as the Kings got belted by the Rockets. 21 minutes for Cauley-Stein, 2 points with 5 rebounds, no other numbers, 1 of 7 from the field, didn't attempt any free throws. He has really struggled, the 119th ranked player over the course of this season. He has these big games occasionally. He has small games occasionally. Well, last game he had 17 and 6, and the game before that 6 and 7. The game before that 18 and 12. His inconsistency is frustrating. Harry Giles is out for the rest of the season, so there are going to be minutes there. But Bagley and Bjelica are, I believe, the 2 best front court options for this Kings team. I don't think that Cauley-Stein is going to be a starter in the NBA next season. He's a restricted free agent, whether he's back in Sacramento or not. If he's back, I don't think he starts over Bagley or Giles. And I don't see any other team looking at him as a future long-term starter on their team. He doesn't block shots, 0.6 shots per game as a starting center. He's unbelievably poor. He's terrible at free throws. He can't hit threes. He gets no assists. He can get steals and he rebounds at an okay rate, but he's just not that good of an NBA player and he's not that good of a fantasy player. So if you do want to move on from him, you can, but I urge a level of caution. In that he plays Thursday, and there are only 4 teams that play on Thursday, so holding him for that day on Thursday is going to have value. because there just aren't any guys that play on Thursday. So next he plays Friday, Sunday, Wednesday, all high volume days. But that Thursday against the Cavs, even if he comes in and only plays 25 minutes and has 8 and 6, that's useful because there aren't going to be many options available. So while he has been a dud, and he probably is a droppable guy, the fact that he plays on Thursday means that you probably do want to hold him through Wednesday, and then after Thursday, you turf his ass out, and then you go and add someone else to your roster. The plus-minus GOATs of the day, Kevin Durant was a plus 72.2 before he was ejected, while Cauley Stein, he struggled, of course, a negative 98.4 for the Sacramento Kings, as we talked about. A couple of injury news I mentioned already. Harry Giles is out for the rest of the season. That gives deeper league value for Costa Koufos. It boosts Bagley. It probably boosts Bielitsa a little bit as well there in Sacramento, and probably Bogdan Bogdanovic as well. While Trevor Ariza, unsurprisingly, out for the season in Washington. Troy Brown for deeper leagues gets a little bit of a bump there as well. You got Chasen Randall, who's been getting some minutes. Geordie McRae as a deeper league points streamer as well. But no surprise that Ariza has been ruled out for the rest of the regular season. Let's look at these games now across the NBA. There's 4 of them on which day was it? On Tuesday. I'm getting my days mixed up. The first one of those was a decent sized blowout. The Thunder beat the Lakers 119-103. For the Lakers, Caldwell Pope had 23, 5 and 4 with 5 triples. He is really putting together some strong performances. He has 12-team value, while Rajon Rondo, just a lot of minutes again for Rondo, 36 minutes, only 7 points on 11 shots, horrible for your field goal percentage. But the 10 rebounds, the 9 assists, the steal, and the block were really strong. Now, I still believe that he was outplayed once again by Alex Caruso, as he has been a majority of games this season, but it doesn't appear that Walton will be reducing his minutes to give that playing time to Caruso. So Rondo continues to have fantasy value. As for Caruso, he's got value anyway. 15, 2 and 7 with 2 steals in 29 minutes. They played alongside each other, him and Rondo. I think Caruso's got at least 14-team league value, while flaming Mo Wagner... 10 points for him in a start for the future MVP, Kyle Kuzma. 10 points with 4 rebounds and 2 threes for Wagner. More just a deeper league guy. JaVale McGee finally fell off 10 and 8 in his 25 minutes, while Lance Stevenson's really struggling in that starting role for LeBron. 9 points, all from 3, which is amazing, with 3 assists, while Reggie Bullock providing a nice deeper league, moderate-sized league three-point streamer. 13 points with 3 triples there for him. For the Thunder, Paulie George had 19, 6 and 5 with 5 steals and a block. Jeremy Grant was great, 22 and 5. Steven Adams got whacked in the head. Said he was having trouble hearing, but he returned to the game. 13 and 8 with 5 blocks. You don't get that from Steven Adams very often. 1 of 7 from the line is also pretty impactful in a negative way. While Schroeder continues to get more minutes than Terry Ferguson. 15 and 4 for Schroeder in his 29 minutes. Ferguson had 15 points in his 22. I think Schroeder should be looked at more of a streaming guy. He's been really inconsistent and up and down, and can be quite harmful in those field goal percentage categories, with a lot of Ferguson's minutes also going towards face Ray Felton, who had 2 points in his 13 minutes. The fact that he's in the rotation, though, is noticeable because it does take some stuff away from those other guys. Next up, we want to look at the Orlando Magic and the Toronto Raptors, although that is incorrect because that's the wrong screen that's up in front of me. I will correct that. All right, let's look now at Atlanta and the San Antonio Spurs. The Hawks were up in this one decently late into the game, and then activated full tank mode, and the Spurs get the win 117-111. Alex Len was playing fantastically, didn't play the final 7 minutes of this game as tank mode was activated. 28 minutes for Len, 21 points with 4 triples, a steal, and a block on 64% shooting. The only thing holding him back at the moment is this tank situation, but I think he still is a rosterable guy across 12-team leagues. Deontay Davis also going to have some deep league value, 9 and 10 with 2 steals. He played the stretch there. Kevin Huerter had 13 points with 2 steals and a block. Old Fanderpants providing some okay sort of numbers. More of a 14-team league guy at this point, while Trae Young struggled with his shot, just 15 points on 15 shots, but had 6 assists, while Vince Carter started for the Baptist John Collins. Now, Collins will be back for Wednesday's game. Prince, we're not so sure about. Justin Anderson made another start in place of Taurean Prince. Definitely not as successful as his last one. 26 minutes for 7 points. More just a deeper league guy. I don't think we should really be trusting him to be a consistent performer. For the Spurs, DeRozan had 29, 7 and 7, and Aldridge had 16 and 11 with 3 blocks. Paddy Mills knocked in 4 triples, and Rudy Gay made another start but struggled. 6 points with 11 rebounds and 4 assists. He can be a 12-team league guy and a clear guy over Jakob Poeltl, but that's the sort of spot that you should be looking to stream and get the most value out rather than just holding on to Rudy Gay through all the ups and downs. Next up, we look at the Houston Rockets. They beat the Sacramento Kings comfortably, 130-105. Harden was great with 36, 3 and 10. Capella, 7 and 11. But with the blowout, it enabled extra minutes for guys like Kenneth Faried, who had 12 and 11 in 21 minutes. Now, I don't believe Faried will play on Wednesday, and Nene will be into that spot. That was strong from Faried, but it's hard to really rely upon him outside of deeper formats. We only got 28 minutes out of Chris Paul, and he still had 12 assists. All in all, just a real blowout performance. I guess one that does stand out is Danny House. He had 19 points with 4 triples in his 29 minutes. We know he can have these games, and then he can have 3-point performances. He's an interesting streamer guy, but it really is just for deeper formats. For the Kings, Bud Hield had 20 and 7 with 5 assists, strong from him, while Bjelica had 12 and 6 in only 19 minutes. Bjelica is just that 16-team league sort of a player. Bagley really hurt your percentages, Westbrook style, but had 19 and 8 with a block. These are the sort of games that I thought Bagley would be having more of, where he scores well, he rebounds well, and hurts your percentages with very little else. And that's what does worry me about him long-term in fantasy, is that filling those other categories, assists and steals and blocks, and hurting both your percentages, that could be a problem, and that reared its head here. But he still is a must-roster guy. Foxy really starting to fall off a little bit at the moment, De'Aaron Fox. Only 24 minutes for 9 points with 5 assists, while Bogdanovic had 10 points in his 26 minutes. The pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. 10 points for Barnesy in 28 minutes. He is not a must-roster player by any stretch of the imagination. Let's have a look now at the last game of the day. It was another blowout. The Nuggets got beaten by the Warriors 116-102. It was a 30-point game with about 7 minutes left. So minutes were down all over the place. Jamal Murray had 17 with 5 steals. Jokic had 10, 5 and 5 with 4 steals. Millsap only played the 20 minutes. I think he moves into stream territory in 12-team formats. We also had 10 minutes of Isaiah Thomas, 7 minutes of Jared Vanderbilt, and both of these guys scored 10 points. I don't think it looks like we're going to get a Michael Porter debut at all this season, not surprising. Farton, Will Barton, and Gaz Harris struggled again, as they have for months, and they are clearly not 12-team league guys. Durant was ejected, but not before scoring 21, 3 and 6 in 21 minutes with 2 blocks. That was his 15th technical foul. Originally it was reported it was his 16th, but it wasn't. It was his 15th. So both he and Draymond Green have 1 technical up their sleeves. If either of those guys get a tech, they will be suspended for the following game after that. So that's worth mentioning. Boogie, probably his best game. He had 28 and 12. He also had a Richie Beno.
2 for 2.
2 threes, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He looked great out there, really putting up some big numbers. DeMarcus Cousins down the stretch. I do think that he will sit out a game or 2 here as the season winds down. Very little else to talk about with this game. It was a laugher by basically half time, and the Warriors had a very, very comfortable win over the Denver Nuggets. Alright, so let's have a flick over and just have a bit of a look at what sort of stuff we can expect for Wednesday, some injury situations we need to pay attention to. For the Knicks, it's unlikely. Well, Kadeem Allen is out. Noah Vonleh won't play. I don't think we're going to see DeAndre Jordan. Dennis Smith is doubtful at this point, so you're going to get those minutes, big minutes for Emmanuel Mudiay, a big opportunity for Luke Cornett and Mitchell Robinson there as well. Damian Dotson should play a lot of minutes for this team. Lance Thomas played an extraordinarily large amount of minutes last game. There are some opportunities there. For Orlando, it's more of the same, no injuries to really pay attention to. For the Pacers, we've got Darren Collison and Wes Matthews out again, so Tyreek Evans becomes a stream option. It is 12 games on, so finding the right stream option can be tough, but you've got to find the right guy that makes sense on your team. Corey Joseph also in position to have some big numbers there, while Luke Kennard, the Duck, is doubtful for Detroit, and Blake Griffin is questionable. Now, if Griffin is out, Thon McCare becomes an interesting stream option. Glennie Robinson for the deep leagues. For Chicago, Porter's out, Levine's out, Chris Dunn is doubtful. I don't think we see any of Porter, Levine, or Dunn again this season. Big Shaq Harrison is probable.
Big Shaq.
I think you'll get a bit of him. Jakar Sampson's going to get some minutes. Wayne Selden's going to have some opportunity there. in Chicago. Will Walt Lemon get another start? I believe he will. He stunk last game, but another opportunity for him could be occurring. For Washington, not much to really pay too much attention to injury-wise there. Jaylen Brown is doubtful for the Celtics, so that helps guys like Gordon Hayward. It helps Shemi Ojeleye, helps Marcus Smart a little bit as well. Al Horford is probable, while Marcus Morris is questionable. Now, if Morris is out, Ojeleye and Gershon Yabusele will get those minutes, but they're really very limited fantasy players. For Miami, Derrick Jones Jr. is out, but Scooter Magruder, Joshie Richardson, and Justice Winslow are all questionable. When those guys are out, Richardson and Winslow in particular, Dragic and Waiters get a huge bump in their value. If all these guys plays, it does have an impact on them. Jimmy Johnson would be the guy to look at as well, who could be a stream option. He started the second half last game with Jones out, and that could be the case again here. For Philadelphia, Embiid out again, so another opportunity for Jonah Bolden, who played well in the first start, struggled in the second one. We'll see what happens for him here against this Atlanta Hawks team on a back-to-back. I imagine John Collins will be back. We don't know the status of Taurean Prince, while Jimmy Butler also sat out the last game for the Sixers, so his status will be one to monitor. If he is out, deeper leagues look at James Ennis and TJ McConnell. For the Raptors and the Nets, no word on any Raptors resting or anything like that. At this point, I don't think we see Alan Crabb, the Jedi. OG Anunoby's been ruled out.
Hello there.
Danny Green hurt his thumb, but he's listed as probable. I think we're going to see limited minutes for Gasol, for Ibaka, for Lowry, probably for Kawhi Leonard in this one as well. The Hornets take on the Pelicans. Anthony Davis is probable. Last game he was probable as well, and He's missed the last 3 games. Christian Wood is obviously the guy that we want here in New Orleans, irrespective of Davis's status. For Charlotte, Frank Jackson also out for New Orleans, so that gives you Ian Clark as a deep league point streamer. Marvin Williams is doubtful for Charlotte, so that does help the value of someone like Frank Kaminsky and Bill Hernangomez, as well as Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. While the Baconator, Dwayne Bacon, he really struggled last game. Miles Bridges, I think it also helps him that Marvin Williams is out. I'd stick with those guys for one more game. Minnesota and Dallas, Taj Gibson's out. I think he's done for the year. That's not confirmed. Dorian Finney-Smith is questionable for Dallas, while Luka Doncic is also questionable. I don't think that Doncic plays, and that boosts the value of Trey Burke really into a streaming type of a player. The Spurs take on Denver, both of these teams on a back-to-back. No word on anyone missing time here. I think we're pretty okay in terms of injuries, but of course Popovich could throw anything out there for us. For the Jazz, Kyle Korver and Derek Favors are both out, while Jay Crowder is probable. He will likely draw another start at power forward as they take on the Phoenix Suns. DeAndre Ayton is out for the Suns, no surprise. TJ Warren, Tyler Johnson, all of those guys are sidelined. So Joshie Jackson, McCall Bridges, Rashawn Holmes is an excellent add here in Phoenix as well. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Trailblazers, Mike Conley is doubtful, Avery Bradley is out, while Joakim Noah is questionable. Ivan Rabb becomes the stream option with Jonas Valanciunas out. You're looking at Delon Wright as a must-roster guy. Tyler Dorsey's got some value. And if Noah plays, I think he might be able to have some value. I do doubt that he does actually see the court in this one. While for Portland, Rocket Rodney Hood will likely start again, but it's Seth Curry, the guy that I really want there, while Enes Kanter shouldn't be on a waiver wire at this point. While the last game of the day is the Rockets and the Clippers. I don't think Kenneth Faried's going to play this game. Nene will likely step into his role, while Paddy Beverly is listed as questionable for the Clippers. If he is out, it boosts the value of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think it helps Garrett Temple for those deeper leagues as well, who might push up to 30 minutes in that scenario. Let's have a look at some options that we can potentially stream in. Again, we've really got to be paying attention to our waiver wire moves. If you add someone on this day, will they fit on your active roster? But we'll still go through some guys who could be available. In the points category, Emmanuel Moutier's got a massive opportunity. So does Jay Crowder. Tom Bryant still rostered in under 50% of leagues, so he could be around. Christian Wood, Seth Curry, Damo Dotson, Big Shaq Harrison. Those guys are all going to play fairly sizable roles on this day. For threes, you're looking at the Duke Wayne Ellington in Detroit, Jay Crowder's an option, Terry Ross, the Cornetto, Luke Cornett really has an opportunity there, Landry Shamet, Damo Dotson. These are all guys who you could add to maybe hit 3 or 4 threes in a day. For rebounding, Tommy Bryant, Bill Hernangomez, Mitchie Robinson, all those guys probably should be rostered. Maybe not Bill Hernangomez. Eddie Davis is a real rebounding specialist. Christian Wood is a guy that I think should be rostered irrespective of Davis's status. You've got Chris Felicio and Rashawn Holmes, another guy, Rashawn Holmes, who should be rostered with Ayton injured. For the assists type stream option, we're looking at DJ Augustin, Tyus Jones in Minnesota, Freddie VanVleet, Delon Wright, the burner Jalen Brunson, even Jamal Crawford, who's played 30 minutes in each of the last 2 games for Phoenix, he could be an option for that category. And for steals, Big Shaq Harrison and McCall Bridges, a former Phoenix Sun and a current Phoenix Sun, 2 great options there. Marcus Smart, Delon Wright, Josh Okogie, Karis LeVert really providing value at the moment, PJ Tucker also, and Tabo Cephalosha, who should see his minutes rise with Kyle Korver and Derek Favors both sidelined. For blocks, we know it's Mitchie Robinson, Tommy Bryant, Rashawn Holmes, they're the no-brainers. Bruno Caboclo's got great value at the moment. Jonah Bolden, Maxi Kleber, and Christian Wood. There are quite a few guys out there who can be added and are available in a lot of situations who can help you in that blocks category. For field goal percentage, we're looking at Robinson as a great option, Tommy Bryant, Robin Lopez, Deontay Davis could help in that area, Mason Plumlee, Holmes, Felicio, Ivan Rabb also is a guy that can help in the field goal percentage category. And then for free throws, again, one of the harder categories to influence, DJ Augustin, the pick of the bunch there, Al Farouk Aminu, the Chief.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Gordon Hayward can be pretty influential in that category. Rocket Rodney Hood, Marco Bellinelli, Dario Saric, Aaron Holiday, who's going to have some extra minutes with both Collison and Corey Joseph Collison and Wes Matthews already ruled out. So there's some options for you guys to stream in for this Wednesday in the NBA. Don't forget to check out this podcast and subscribe to it on the new Himalaya podcast app, also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on Spotify. And check out today's sponsor, Wise. Wise.com/lock to guarantee yourself the best price on a $20 camera. Follow me on Twitter at redrock_bball. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya. Ivica Zubac.